Ontario Police is gang stalking in the dark. They are crossing paths they're monitoring with the police. This is Laurelwood Apartments. I documented the Ontario International Airport gang stalking me with them. They live in relevant position and they're pacing while the Ontario Police are stalking in the path, meeting me in the path, stalking with impossible light. So parking lot, impossible light swiping across this building over here. And that's how you recognize targeting. You can also recognize it this way. You see my shadow over here, way in front? Those are demons. Those are the Ontario Police Department. And they're clearly stalking right now as well in this specific environment. And it's the same department that's following me everywhere from place to place in helicopter. Now they're doing it in their vehicles. So you can see the same gang stalking patterns using the resources of a police department where sex offenders are following me from place to place. I was just in the restroom at Starbucks. They were monitoring my vagina. All right, so they know when I'm starting my cycle. They know what it is that's going on in the bathroom, and I'm being this detailed because that's the sex offense that the Ontario Police Department's engaged in. These are demons that are monitoring together. As you see this light, as you see them in the dark, you're looking at ominous stalking. You're looking at demon possession, and it's shared with the people of the state. There is no light over there that's going to cause a shadow here on the ground and these multiple shadows in front of, to give you context about the demon possession of the Ontario Police who are stalking again on video. This is terrorism that's going to be used to disband this demon infected and wildly corrupt department that did commit kidnapping on May 29, 2025. I'm documenting them gang stalking me under the fake sun with the same exact impossible light activity during the daytime that it is at nightfall when there's no fake sun, where it's a clear identification of who is being targeted, and it is me. They are crossing paths. I'm walking in this parking lot. They're driving in the parking lot, and that's getting into the path, and they're doing so with the method of light. This is very creepy stalking conduct that the Ontario Police Department is engaging in, and this is the same department that's communicating a threat where you're going to analyze any stalker. They're engaging in a pattern of kidnapping upon a pattern of stalking me everywhere, and they're exhibiting demon possession that is mental illness while they do that, and they are in a position of law enforcement where they are mentally unstable, engaging in a pattern of stalking and kidnapping that is making up information so that they can kidnap me in one way or another. They're engaged in that, and this is an unlawful threat. The people of the state are crossing path and engineer light. They're monitoring audible activity crossing path, monitoring demons. That's the entity. You cannot hear the train over here. You can't hear the train over here. The Ontario Police Department is very much engaged in what is stalking, very much engaged in what is gang stalking. And this is the Ontario Police Department that's engaging in this conduct with the people of the state that's crossing path light activity while the entity is sounding train. It's the P.O.C. And there is no warrant or probable cause to engage in criminal surveillance as a police department. This isn't law enforcement. They're not just having a random little rendezvous in a dark parking lot. They're stalking me in the path with amplified train activity, which you cannot hear. You can't hear that. That's them demonstrating demon possession. While you hear the audible activity, you're looking at demons. Those are demons. This is stalking by the Ontario Police Department. This is going on that playlist of the ongoing stalking by the Ontario Police since the date of kidnapping that I was released on June 3rd, 2025. And the entity is engaged in what is ongoing, documented terrorism and stalking as an entire department. Stalking clearly seen under the fake sun, stalking clearly seen where the entity is engaging in what is surveillance in the specific environment, and they're following me around from place to place. And the fact of following through gang stalking is demonstrated through an environment that defies nature, such as amplified audible activity like you're hearing, and it's very clear on their face. They're engaged in traditional stalking, following me from place to place in helicopter, for example, and also with regard to the heavy police presence everywhere that I'm going. That's how you're identifying gang stalking as well. I've been documenting it for years. This is P.O.C. It's currently where you're looking at what is inexplicable light. Because those light fixtures, that is creating light that's shooting horizontally. That's not light that's characteristic with multiple shadows, different varying levels of concentration. And the entity, while those demons drove in the parking lot, engineer light flashed across this wall over here. And you know that I'm speaking the truth because you've seen the engineer light inside of Starbucks when they're gang stalking me by helicopter. They're gang stalking by pacing in traffic on Euclid Avenue, stalking all day long while the fake sun remains over Starbucks for 11 hours. This is the entity that is gang stalking, and this is again your ability to witness what is the disbanding of a demon-possessed and corrupt police department. License, I can't really see that license plate, but the entity is gang stalking with the police. This is what is the parking lot. I just came out of Starbucks, and they were monitoring in the private space. They know everywhere that I'm going. They know everything that I'm doing, and they're following right now while the entity is engaging in that P.O.C. with the Ontario International Airport, following from place to place. Oh, this is Providence. There's no Terminal 2, the airport following as I'm leaving the Ovid Family Community Library. This is a grand deviation. Just so that you know, I've walked north. Like I stated, the demons are following from place to place. That's light, relevant positioning. They're monitoring with communication devices, and they're watching me document them, and they're still stalking. That's going to the maniacal psychopath, the stalker. And the airport is migrating north as I go north. While I was at the Ovid Family Community Library, they were keeping in alignment, flying west, and doing so flying over the 280 North Lemon Apartments. This is 507 North Euclid Avenue. The entity is flying in the direction west over the AEGIS, over the Truth and Love Family Ministries, and they're doing so while the Ontario Police are stalking in the path with engineered light, because their headlights are not what caused engineered light to flash across that building. They're demons engaging in the elements of monitoring right now as I'm detailing that for you. And you are looking at very creepy stalking. I've documented over the years the Ontario Police Department gang stalking me by parking in dark parking garages for purposes of crossing path. What they're doing right now, they do so with their headlights on. They've done so when they're stalking me in the path, anticipating for me to walk by while they are engaging what is stalking as a department, maintaining presence everywhere that I go, every street that I cross, maintaining presence in the path, doing so with light. They're documented them gang stalking by parking in dark parking lots, parking in dead ends, parking in dark parking garages where they are lurking in the dark, stalking, gang stalking with the people of the state. Audible activity, relevant positioning, light activity, monitoring together, demon possessed together. This is public corruption. And as creepy as this is, these are the demons that are engaging in what is the pattern of conduct, and it is replete with the fake sun over the Ontario Police Department as well, just to be sure. The police department is a crime scene where it's also proven that there are a bunch of life-size cockroaches, as you see them in the dark, lurking, stalking, sitting in their vehicles. As I start recording, not moving. The moment that I started recording, just sitting in their vehicles, not moving the vehicles anymore. Stalking with impossible light, stalking with the Ontario International Airport that is following me as I go from place to place. Why? They're not flying over what is G Street yet is because I'm not at G Street. What I told you the documentation is the demons of the Ontario International Airport, they remain on what is the left side of my person with regard to direction. That would be the south side of my person. So as I walk north, they stay on this side of my person. So as I continue walking in this direction, then when I'm on G Street, they'll be flying on the south side of my person, west on G Street. As I'm going north up the street, the entity is stalking in that manner. As I've been documenting, they stay on a certain side of my person in Ontario. That's why they're flying on this side. As I progress, then they'll be flying over G Street, where the Ontario Police Department is gang stalking, while the entity maintains amplified audible activity, and that department is going to be prosecuted for psychological torture. They're going to be prosecuted for the perpetual sex offense. They're going to be prosecuted for multiple kidnappings with the intent to obstruct justice. And they're also going to be prosecuted for engaging in what is domestic terrorism, gang stalking, period. Federal stalking as well. Violence against women. They're gang stalking at Woodside Senior Apartments. The heavy helicopter activity over me at that apartment complex where the fake sun was rising and setting, where the Ontario International Airport is flying over the apartment complex, gang stalking with the Ontario Police. Okay, they're doing so while I'm walking at nightfall. And this is, I want to be clear, also a show of hostility, because the demons who are psychopaths are very triggered by everything that I said, that I published on my podcast today. And I'm going to go make sure that you listen to it 2 times, because I mean every word that I said, including the fact that the demons of the Ontario Police are being disbanded. And this psychopathic conduct is being made a part of the record because they're going to prison. El Martinez is going to federal prison for gang stalking, just like you see here. So is Nathan Morgan going to federal prison for gang stalking, just like you see here. So is C. Torres. He's going to federal prison for gang stalking, just like you see here. And so is B. Hook. They're going to federal prison. They're engaged in gang stalking at a department-wide conduct. The entity is stalking with noise while another demon is meeting at the path right here, and they're gang stalking. They're surrounding with the Ontario Police. These are demons together acting in concert. And remember, there's multiple shadows. So the entity is maintaining a specific environment, following me around from place to place, and engaging in what is threatening the federal prosecutor. You're only getting more time in federal prison. All right, so remember the specific environment. This is not the light conduct that's normal. This is not normal light activity. Here's my shadow intersecting. It's meeting as I walk up. Multiple shadows. That's giving you context regarding what you're looking at. Stalking in the dark as well as a corrupt police. That's not law enforcement. That's not law enforcement, and they're not a legitimate law enforcement agency. They're stalkers and they're sex offenders, and they are raging, unhinged psychopaths. They are sex offenders that are awaiting the appropriate labels, and they're gang stalking with the demons who are the people of the state. Walking in engineer light, making noise, slamming things in engineer light, revving their engine in engineered light, stalking in airplanes in engineered light. This is P.O.C. Remember the gang stalker you saw, the Ontario Police Vehicle 1118 under the fake sun that was over my head, moving from Starbucks to Starbucks to the Ovid Family Community Library, where that fake sun remained until after 6 p.m. That's what the Ontario Police Department is doing. They're gang stalking in that environment that remains around me, and that's the environment that remains right now. The fake sun is the indicator, the hallmark with regard to what is pacing, because that's what this demon is doing, pacing back and forth. Gang stalking with the demons that are sitting in Ontario police vehicles. This is, again, the entity that is engaging what is providing the evidence against itself at this point. And their obsession with my vagina is why the Ontario Police Department is going to be shut down, and why the demons that engaged in kidnapping on May 29th, those 4 predators, they're going to federal prison. And they've been gang stalking me with Tracy Banks for years. And Tracy Banks is getting locked up as well. It is currently, by the way, 10:16 p.m. The entity that is gang stalking with people like Jason Isaac Fields, gang stalking me with Tracy Banks, with Eric Corey Spencer, the entity engaging what is gang stalking in the same way that the Los Angeles Police Department is, in an environment that is irreconcilable and not shared, not in a natural environment. These demons are sitting in a black parking lot, a dark parking lot, while they're engaged in open surveillance, communicating an unlawful threat in the way that you would analyze any stalker. These are the demon-possessed stalkers of the Ontario Police Department. This is pacing while they're driving forward and reversing. Remember, it's an engineered light. This is a demon exhibiting severe mental illness. And it's about me. They're in a dark parking lot stalking me. This is what's so pathetic about the gang stalkers of the Ontario Police Department. They engage in violence against women, and they're also cowards. License plate, that's vehicle 1045 1614325. I believe. I can't really see that, but the entity is engaged in gang stalking, and that was pacing. And this demon's engaged in what is ongoing loitering in the path. This is unlawful conduct. They're going to be prosecuted. They can't believe it, but they're going to be prosecuted for gang stalking. They don't have any warrant or probable cause to be in the specific environment where surveillance is underway. And it's exposing the criminality of everything that's happening because it's accomplishing criminal surveillance. And the ways in which they're threatening you while you're documenting it, that's also going to be legally analyzed. This is exposing what is severe mental illness, and there's no terminals over here where any planes are going to be hovering. The more that I walk north, the more that you're seeing stalking by the airport in order to aid the criminal engagement in stalking me and monitoring my vagina, which is the illegitimate business of the Ontario Police Department. A whole bunch of sex offenders that are waiting to be labeled appropriately and put in federal cells and asylums where they belong. Also misusing helicopters and gang stalking me every day and night, which I also have a plethora of video evidence proving that as well. This is the entity that engaged in kidnapping because I call the demons out, and I call out all of their psychotic and sexually violent behavior. And these demons know exactly who I am because I'm not like them. That's why they're targeting me. It is currently, by the way, 10:19 p.m. and you've witnessed what is the entity gang stalking me, targeting with regard to the specific environment, and stalking in the middle of the night, which is exactly what they're doing by helicopter as well. I can't make this up, and I could not control what the Ontario Police Department continues to give me with regard to prosecuting them. And you already know what the demon-possessed people of the state are doing. Stalking with the possible light. What do you think is going on right now? They're gang stalking together. Those are the baboons that are done as a police department. They can't control themselves. They cannot control themselves. That equals a full comprehensive prosecution for a demon-possessed department that has long awaited being exposed and prosecuted for the sex offenders that they are. This is a P.O.C. Stalking me in the middle of the night. They don't have authority under the law. They're stalking. That's not law enforcement. They don't have authority under the law. They're stalking. P.O.C.